Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs win. Cry, Eagles, cry.
Great, excited to be back early.
You know, every day I got the Three Stooges in the studio with me is a good fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So let's make sure he gets that bag.
F-R-A-U-D-S, fries! Woo!
Justin's way ahead in picks. That's all that you need to fucking know.
Show's over.
Show's over. We're going home.
I would like to welcome you back to another page of the Playbook Sports Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast, and it is draft week. We are 2 days away from the NFL draft. Cannot wait. Put in the application for an NFL media pass. We'll see what they say. Just for kicks. Figure why not, right? Worst they can do is say no, and then we apply again next year.
Give them a good laugh.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You know, maybe they'll be like,
Playbook
oh,
Sports.
it's hilarious to have this kid here. Right, you never know. But we got the boys in studio. We got Cephs. We got AO. We got Don, Sage Brown via Zoom. He is in an undisclosed location. Don't ask. We won't tell you. He's rocking the stash today. It's not poop, I promise. But so today what we're going to be doing, we're going to talk a little bit about the big move that just happened in the NFL. We're going to talk power rankings, pre-draft, best five, worst five. That one's going to be fun. And then we're going to do our big final mock draft, Playbook Sports Podcast style, where we're just all taking turns. Trades allowed. We'll see what happens. But first off, we're going to talk Jets Packers and the trade that was just made. Aaron Rodgers. I've got trade details here. Of course, I didn't have them pulled up because I'm a bum.
Lazy podcast.
Lazy podcast. Trade details. Aaron Rodgers, pick number 15 and a 2023 fifth round pick go to the New York Jets, and the Packers in return get pick number 13, a second rounder this year, which is pick number 42, a sixth rounder this year, pick number 207, and a conditional 2024 second round pick that will become a one if and when Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the plays. All he has to do is play 11 games, and that's done. He's got it. He will definitely do that. Initial reaction. What are your guys' thoughts on this trade? Do you have a clear-cut winner or clear-cut loser?
I really don't. It's like the media, everything I've seen the last, it hasn't really even been 24 hours since, maybe exactly 24 hours since it broke.
Yeah.
But everyone in the media seems to think like the Packers just absolutely fleece the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I completely buy it. When you look at this, yes, they do get a second this year, which obviously 42 is going to be a really good pick.
Yeah.
And then a second, which is going to be a first next year. So really they got a first and a second and then a pick swap.
And then a pick swap. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to say a second and a first, which is more than I thought they would get.
Same.
I did think they'd get 13 this year. I didn't think they'd have to flop the picks though.
Yeah, I didn't think
they were
get
just going to
15
straight
back.
get the Jets.
Yeah,
pick,
see,
and
that's
that was
right.
it.
I think it's a great trade for both teams, honestly, because the Packers, you get rid of a guy that was done.
Right.
You're not going to play for Green Bay. There's no scenario that's happening. You're going to pay him $60 million to not play.
Right.
And in turn, you get help, draft capital for your new quarterback, Jordan Love. Try to build the team up as quickly as you can around him. But I do like the pick swap for the Jets. Getting 15 back was massive. And then a second round pick this year. And then obviously they're just saving themselves from an injury situation with Rodgers because they believe if he plays, they're going to compete.
Right. Yep.
So they're willing to give that first up. I love the next year's first because if you're going all in on Rodgers, they're sort of taking a little Rams-esque idea. Who cares about the future right now? Because that number one, if we're good, it's going to be late. You know what I'm saying? So sure, it goes to a one, but if we're picking in the late 20s, that's not the worst case scenario. It's not the same as 13. Love 15 so they can potentially still adjust the line. End of the day, kind of like you said, I really am on the side of I think both teams benefited from this immediately. The Jets had to do it, so they had to give up something for Rodgers because at the end of the day, they're projecting him to play well, obviously, if they believe in this guy. Exactly. So, and this was the only move they could make that they pretty much backed themselves in the corner to making. So they had to get it done. Both teams, I thought that at the end of the day, that's fair compensation, I think, because if it turned into a one, they competed. You know what I mean? That's what they believe. So I think it's worth it for both teams.
I've got to agree. I think it was a good trade from both teams as a non-biased viewer, of course. Who don't even think about the Jets. But I think it was a good trade because they, like you said, they backed themselves into this corner where it's like, okay, it's Rodgers or bust. Our defense is championship caliber right now. This defense can win a championship. Our offense, if it produces at all, will be just fine. Their offense averaged 17 points a game last year. I mean, that's abysmal. 17.4 points a game averaged on offense last year. That's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. And, Zach, like they didn't bring back Mike White, so they couldn't fall back on him. So it was Zach Wilson or bust, essentially, at this point in time, because there's no one else available. What else could they have done at QB? Nothing.
No.
None of the quarterbacks are going to fall to him in the draft.
And they said they're not going for Lamar.
Right, and they were,
So-
which
Mhm.
I'm actually really glad for,
Yeah.
grateful for. Thank God.
That would
because
have helped them for the future as well.
if they got Lamar, man, forget it.
Mhm.
That would have been devastating. Because I mean, essentially, they gave up the 2 firsts to
Yeah,
get
exactly.
Rodgers and to
Oh,
pay
yeah.
Rodgers $60 million
Yeah.
instead of going and getting Lamar
Mhm.
for 2 firsts and then giving him the contract.
Yeah.
So
I will
glad.
say, I look at it like they only gave up 1 first though, really, at the end of the day.
Right,
You get that
technically.
pick swap, you know what I
Right.
mean?
True,
They're still
true.
picking 15. So it's like, that's just where I think it maybe
Agree.
looks better off immediately at Green Bay. Oh man, this is gonna be
2
2 ones,
firsts.
but they gave back the
A
one as well. The second is nice,
Mhm.
but again, the Jets, I mean, they had to do it, and
Yeah, they really did.
it helps them compete in the AFC that's stacked. You know what I mean? They almost made the playoffs last year with what
They're
the hell was
7-10.
going on
They're
at quarterback.
2
You know
games
what I
back.
mean?
Yeah, right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. At the end of the season. And you think, oh man, say the defense even aggressive just a smidge. Rodgers can come in, just be good. Just be good Aaron Rodgers. We're gonna win games. And that's why they had to make the move. And I think it was a good move though at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with all 3 of you guys. I mean, I would even argue that the Jets won this trade. You know, they get Aaron Rodgers, which is Pro Bowl at least caliber quarterback, right? He brings that defense up because they're not on the field the whole time. Because let's be honest, there's some points during that season they were on the field like 70% of that time.
Yeah.
You know, so that defense is going to get even better. Like Addison said, that pick is then going to be like a late 20s pick or something like that, right?
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, it's not that big of a loss. On top of that, Aaron Rodgers has to work with a younger quarterback who, after that contract runs out, probably learned a lot from Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson has almost the same intangibles as he did from college. If you just let him sit for a year, 2 years right there, you never know what could happen. They said they're not giving up on him.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
Also,
hey, it's a guy to bring
contract.
in and learn from.
With the contract, they said they're turning that $58 million to a signing bonus. That'll help the cap space a lot too.
Yeah, I would say that I saw they are already restructuring. Rodgers said, hell yeah, let's get it done.
Oh, yeah, we
to
have
help
to.
the cap immediately.
Yep.
And it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, it just makes a team better around him. He's trying to compete. I think the Jets might, it's tough to say that they won the trade, obviously, because Green Bay, this guy was done.
He was leaving.
He
no
was
matter what.
gone. It was, I mean, they're going to pay him the 60 million. He's going to walk type situation. And you're getting, at the end of the day, it is 2 firsts, but you give up 1.
Give up your-
You get a second. And then it's a late round swap as well. For a guy that was legitimately done for your team, it's good for them as well. But I do want to say maybe Jets won if I had to pick a winner, just because you're in a situation where that team can compete right now if we have a quarterback.
Right.
And this
They
guy's
have
a
to do
first
it.
ballot, no question, Hall of Famer.
Mhm.
Does he still have it left in the tank? He says he wants to, and he sounds pissed. Let's go get him and try to win. Because you got to go for it with the AFC. It's stacked.
Yeah, it is absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Addison before we started the show, one of these 8 quarterbacks I'm about to list is going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and there's another one that I'm forgetting. I wasn't even going to name Tua. I didn't even plan on it. And I'm still not going to. I mean, Russell Wilson's not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
We already know that. Like the AFC quarterback room is just
Yeah.
stupid stacked right now. And he comes over and joins it. I mean, he goes from being the best quarterback in his division to
Oh, yeah.
second best, third best, fighting
Yeah.
for that second best spot based on this last season only.
Yeah.
Obviously, first ballot Hall of Famer, love Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
always have. I am not buying all of this Jets to the Super Bowl hype, though. I'm just not buying it.
No.
Because, and I was just looking at numbers, and I was talking numbers with Addison before this one, and it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting to see like where this all goes. Because if you look at last season, Jets defense allowed 18.6 a game, which is fantastic, second best in the league, right behind San Francisco at 17.2. Their offense put up 17.4 points a game. That's abysmal, good for 29th in the NFL, behind the Rams, who didn't have a quarterback all season, behind Tennessee, who didn't have a quarterback all season, and just barely ahead of Houston.
Yeah.
So their offense was putrid last season. I don't know how much Aaron Rodgers saves them in that aspect, because then you look at offensive line. Green Bay had the 8th best offensive line in the NFL last year versus the Jets' 29th best offensive line, which I think is why, like you
Yeah,
said, the
that's a
big
big
swap is
percent.
huge,
Yeah.
because they're definitely going to take an offensive lineman at 15. They have to. But I don't know if one offensive lineman will fix how bad their offensive line is. And then you just look at like Daniel Hackett Sarah's offensive coordinator. He didn't call plays in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur did. Aaron Rodgers is hitting 40 years of age. I think he adds in, if you just look at the averages of points, I think Green Bay's weapons are comparable to New York's weapons.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a huge difference. I think the Jets have the better receiver in Garrett Wilson. I think the better running back groups in Green Bay, along with the better coaching staff and along with the better offensive line. So it's fair to say, if you can look at Green Bay's average points last year and project the Jets average points per game this season, to go up by, 4 or 5 points if you add Aaron Rodgers to last year's team, which gives them an extra 1 win
Yeah.
to last season. If you give them 4 more points per game, which is what Rodgers averaged more than them because he averaged 21.8. If you give them those 4 points, they only pick up 1 more victory. Now, I'm not saying that that's a direct translation.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's multiple
I was gonna
pieces
say,
to
because
it.
just the game, how games go completely
It's
are
totally different with a good
Aaron
quarterback,
Rodgers and
right.
versus Zach Wilson and Mike White, who's playing okay, but then he's a
Right,
backup
he's not Aaron
quarterback.
Rodgers.
And it's just, if the defense can play, obviously you can't expect them to be second best defense
As
in the
good
league
as they
yet,
were,
because
they were crazy.
there's gonna be some aggression, especially from good teams.
Right.
They might stick around in the top 5 because they do have some young pieces on the sauce is elite.
Sauce is insane.
They have good D line.
Yep.
But it's just, man, you got to look at how they played last year. I mean, there was a game against the Patriots where they
No
lost the game on
touchdowns.
the
Yeah,
block punt
That was
type
the only
shit, or
touchdown.
the punt
that-
return.
return.
Yeah,
Only touchdown
exactly.
scored.
And it's like, man, that really sucks. That's one game against a divisional opponent. It's a huge game, and we have an offense that can literally do nothing. And
Right,
his defense is
nothing.
shutting them down all game. Not that Rodgers is going to come in, do the Peyton Manning in Denver, throw 50 touchdowns, but is he going to be better? And I almost look at it, like you said, Garrett Wilson, best receiver.
Yeah.
Well, Green Bay last year, what'd they do? Oh, they shipped Devontae Adams out of town. Didn't know what was going on with Rodgers.
Rodgers dropped off.
So he comes in. Yeah, he drops off because he doesn't have rapport with anybody. He
Right.
tries to build now, but Wilson is better than any receiver in Green Bay.
Yeah.
But Christian Watson stepped up late, and look at Green Bay. They started getting hot at the end of the season last year because Christian Watson and Rodgers, he starts to believe in this guy. Well, hopefully Wilson can just show, hey, I don't need to earn your trust, man. You got it right away because
Right.
I'm gonna be good. I was good last year with who at quarterback. I got you throwing me the ball with this defense as well. I don't want to say Super Bowl contender because obviously there are teams I'd pick ahead of them, but
Right.
they're a legitimate contender in the AFC.
Absolutely.
I think.
I think
Just-
they were. I mean, last year they were 6-3.
yeah, I mean,
Fight
yeah,
for the
exactly.
division.
And then all of a sudden locker
fell
room's
apart,
gone
right.
and the
They
whole
stopped
9.
winning.
And I mean, obviously Rodgers a little bit of drama queen, you want to say maybe, but
I'm interested to see how he handles
New
the
York
media.
media.
I'm interested to see how he handles
sure.
the bright lights of the Big Apple. It'll
I-
be. Could be
I
tough
also
on
look
him.
at it though, is that this guy might only have a little bit left in the tank, but
Mm-hmm.
is he actually pissed? Did he take it personal when he came out of the retreat, the darkness retreat, and he heard that the Packers GM was talking about moving on or making a trade and that Love is the guy? And
Right.
he was like, well, I was done, but now I'm pissed. Is he actually pissed? We'll see, because how much does that come back to play? Because if Rodgers is trying to be petty, man, he's all time petty, and he'd play great football just to
Yeah.
be petty.
I do think that they'll compete. I say they'll win anywhere from 7 to 10 games.
Yeah.
I could see them winning it. Like, just because strength of schedule, they're in the upper third of the hardest schedule next season.
Yeah.
I don't know about Saleh as an offensive coach, and I don't trust Nathaniel Hackett anymore. He's lost any
Yeah.
trust I had ever had in him as a play caller at all. So that will be interesting to see how he molds in there. And if that offensive line can hold up, he could be great because he's not going to be mobile.
No.
So he's going to need guys to be open quick because that offensive line was porous last
But
year.
that's the way I've seen Rodgers pick the Bears a million times apart. He can
Mhm.
do that.
Right.
So, exactly. If he
Oh, yeah.
needs to be quick dots, okay,
he
good
can,
luck, man.
'cause he
Let
can
Aaron
do it.
Rodgers pick you apart. It's like,
Right.
that's not a good.
I'll say 2
Or-
points quickly on the Jets, and I have a question for the group as well.
Mhm.
One, we talked about the O-line of the Jets, obviously being a big concern, and 2, Brees Hall coming back from the ACL.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
that's
he
also
might be the biggest impact for that Jets offense this
Mhm.
year because he was dominant. He was
Dominant.
last
Insane.
year with a shit
Oh,
cube.
yeah.
Mhm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you give Rodgers a nice, hungry young running back, and
Yeah.
holy shit. The question I have for you guys is, I guess, what are your expectations for the Jets?
Yeah.
And I guess twofold with that, what would be like a win for the Jets in their eyes?
In
What
the-
would be a successful season?
A Super Bowl, reaching the Super Bowl, I think, is what the Jets are all in for
Their
right now.
expectations.
I
I
think
agree.
that's where I think their heads are like, okay, we've done it. We've built the
Championship, I think
defense.
AFC championship
Yeah.
game. You
Get to
say
the
you
AFC
run into
title
the
game.
Chiefs in Arrowhead and you lose close.
Mhm.
Obviously that sucks because it's not a Super Bowl, but
Right.
you weren't getting there, not even close to that
Right,
without Rodgers.
Oh, not many less.
What I think, Colin, I think AFC championship game would be a win at the end of the day. Maybe not for the Jets. Maybe they do want that Super Bowl because that's the move they made for
Right,
it. It is.
right.
But I
In
think
my
AFC
mind,
championship
is
game
good
would
for
be
them.
good.
Yeah.
Super Bowl would be monstrous. Just making it, winning it, obviously best case scenario. I think winning a playoff game,
Mhm.
one playoff game with Rodgers, expectation. That's what I have for them. Just because I also look at it like this: the Jets team, man, questions in the locker room last year. Quarterback, no one was the leader. It's almost LeBron-esque. The whole Lakers locker room. You got asked a question yesterday in the post game. Do you feel like these young guys want to play better so they don't let you down?
Mhm.
It's almost the same thing with Rodgers. They're coming to town, they're all excited, like, oh my God, this guy, to some of them is the GOAT.
Yeah.
You know what I
that's
mean?
what I've
Before
seen.
Mahomes, and they're now competing against them. They grew up watching Aaron Rodgers do everything Mahomes did besides win the Super Bowls.
Right.
But talent-wise, and they're going, holy cow, this guy's our quarterback now. We got to take it to another level. Is that there? And how much does that get them, though, competing against the juggernauts of the AFC? Like, good luck.
Right.
But I think one playoff win, making the playoffs and winning a game for the Jets is what I expect of them.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
because I think, with the move for Rodgers, they have to do
They
that.
have to do that.
I'm going to say they need to have a home playoff game. Winning that division is really what's going to make it worth it for them. You know, I mean, they made this move to win the Super Bowl. If they can't even win their own division, they don't deserve to be in that Super Bowl.
That's true.
You know, if they can bring a home playoff game to New York and win it in front of their fans, that's what's going to reignite that franchise. But anything less than that, if they win one wild card game and they're out in the divisional round, it's a bust.
Yeah, I mean, they went all in. It seems like they're all in on this season.
Sage, you brought up a point winning the division. I almost think it's a good thing they're in a loaded division because let the Dolphins and Bills beat up on each other. Everybody's going to beat up on New England.
Mhm.
You can't lose to New England this year. The
No,
Jets, you can't get swept. You know, it's
no.
happened how many years in a row?
Bill
7
Belichick
years in a
owns
row now or something, 8 years in a row. It's sickening.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to sweep the Patriots. You got to reverse that completely and then hopefully split, maybe sweep one of the other two teams if you get lucky. And those two teams split as well,
Mhm.
beat up on each other, maybe sneak it by a game. Sage, that's a good point. Winning the division, I think, would be huge as well. Not even just a play. Okay, that's a good count right there.
And I just don't know if this puts them above the Bills
Yeah, see, that's the
or
thing.
even the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio is 5-4 against Aaron Rodgers in his career, and I say we're giving Vic Fangio maybe the most talented defensive roster he's ever had.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a dogfight. Whoever that.
Pass rushers. Our defense is very, very good.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting
I'll
at.
say Ramsey, you got him for a bag of chips for a reason.
Well, third-rated cornerback last year by
Yeah,
PFF.
true. Hey, good thing that's this year though.
No, that whole division is
So-
shaping up to look like what the AFC West was supposed to be last year. So we'll see. I don't want to put anything huge on a big division, but we thought the AFC West last year was going to be this big
seriously.
bloodbath.
Well, you got to think at least 3 really good teams though
Yeah.
in this division.
I mean,
like
There's 2 playoff
arguably
teams from
10
last
wins,
season.
10 wins plus from
Right.
3 teams could
Yes.
be, and I mean some of those might even be 12, 13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That really could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have 3 possible playoff teams and a possible first overall.
And a
pick team.
possible worst team in the NFL,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
got-
crazy with Bill Belichick,
Yeah, I
though.
know.
I almost find it hard to believe because he's going to pull some rabbit out of his hat and make it
Yeah,
work.
he will.
He'll win 7 games and just annoy everybody because we all hate him.
Man, Bill's in such a weird spot. You know what I mean?
He needs to
Because
get out of
like,
there.
do
I
you
think he's
retire
retired.
right now? Do you retire soon? Because if you rebuild, are you going to retire in a couple years when you're older and you're right at the fresh of a rebuild? You know what I
Right.
mean? Are you going to retire when everything's in the dumps? Tough.
Yeah.
But hey,
Agreed.
that's what happens.
It's gonna be interesting to see. I just don't see, like, Aaron Rodgers has won 1 Super Bowl in his career. And I think he's had Green Bay teams better than the Jets team he just joined. I would say that some of the Green Bay teams he has been on in the past that were 1 seeds
Yeah.
and lost in the playoffs were as good, if not better, than this Jets team. And he just hasn't ever done it in the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
he just hasn't. He goes to San Francisco and loses. He just hasn't gotten it done. And so I think the Super Bowl expectations that the Jets have and their fans have right now is unrealistic. And got to bring it down a little bit. I think 10 wins is definitely reasonable. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying 7, anywhere from 7 to 10 wins, because like we said, the AFC is loaded. They have to go to Philadelphia this year.
I just 7 wins. You think they don't even win one more game with Rodgers?
Mm.
Like,
I think, like I'm saying, the range. I think 7
Yeah.
to 10, because Rodgers is 40.
yeah.
He's behind the worst one of the worst offensive lines in football.
With
One
the best
bad
defense
shot.
on the other
right,
side,
best
though.
defense, right. So if I think if they score 21 points a game, they win 10 games.
Yeah. So you're gonna say injury though, but then that's like no Rodgers. If Jets have healthy Rodgers all year,
Then
I think
10
7 wins would be really bad.
That'd be insane.
Yeah,
I
that'd
wouldn't
be
believe
bad.
it. If Rodgers plays every game, I think they win 10 games.
I can see that. 10 games, I think is
Yeah.
I think
think
they'd
10
be
and
happy.
7
And
is
if is that
reasonable.
enough in the division? I don't think.
I don't know if
Anywhere
that's-
from 9 to 11.
Yeah,
is where,
I think
maybe
that's
8 to
reasonable.
11
Yeah.
is where I see them at.
Yeah, it's just dude, it's just
tough.
it's great that they made that move, but then you turn around and you face, oh my God,
Right.
we've
It's
really
like-
got 8, 9 teams.
8, 9
You
teams.
didn't even name Tua though in the
Right, I
quarterback
know
list.
that.
Like
I
and
know.
then you just add the Dolphins who do have a great defense.
And just added the best defensive.
No, he
coordinator.
is. He is like that. He's gonna be a monster with that defense.
Right.
Like that's just a fact.
It's talented.
And you got to face that twice. You know what I
Twice.
mean? So and then also the Bills, who are a Super Bowl contender in
And-
their mind
And I think the Patriots stink, but I
Yeah.
think Bill Belichick is still Bill Belichick.
And
And he
he's
swept the Jets last
multiple
year.
times. And seriously, almost. I think it's actually like 7 years. Like they've lost like 14.
Yeah,
straight
they have not
matchups.
beaten
Yeah.
the Patriots in forever. And
It's
it's
a
like
while.
it's just an absolute bloodbath on the AFC side of things, man. I'm very jealous of you guys in the NFC.
Mhm. Yeah, no.
Because it's an absolute
It's a
right
joke.
now, all of these teams, all of these AFC teams are going all in right
It's
now.
a joke. You have.
And it's like you have to, but it's like, damn it, why can't we go all in 5 years ago
I know.
before Mahomes was Mahomes?
I know.
Shit. Why do we all have to go all in right now, guys? Chill out. Let's just take turns.
Man,
going all
that's
in.
crazy.
Like the Eagles right now are going all in. It's like, okay, who's opposing them? Cowboys
the
and
Niners.
the Niners with Brock
With
Purdy.
no
It's like,
Purdy, yeah.
okay, all
Yeah,
right.
let's just realign the divisions. We'll
Yes.
Move Dallas down to the south. Like
Yeah,
they should.
there you go.
Yeah.
Put 'em in the
Right,
south.
Dallas in the east. That makes zero
That
sense.
does make zero sense. That does make.
Put
Put
them
Tampa in the
south.
east.
Yeah.
And
there we
you
go.
guys should just.
Carolina, yeah, Carolina.
Carolina.
Carolina's literally on the
We'll
coast.
go run the south.
That's actually sickening.
That is ridiculous. Okay, that's
Makes
so
no
stupid.
sense.
That makes
No
absolutely no sense. All right, that's our Rodgers talk. So let's go ahead.